Welcome back to another episode of Julie Laughton Podcast. Today we're going to talk about embracing earthy tones and natural materials.
Welcome to the Julie Laughton Living Podcast, the place to get advice, tips, and tricks to building the life and luxury home of your dreams with 30-year business owner, designer, and builder, Julie Laughton. It all starts with a good plan. This is Julie Laughton Living.
Okay, so everybody knows what the 1960s looked like, and now we have what we have today. A little too much white for me, but if you haven't noticed, there's been a shift from lots of color to almost no color. But the good thing is that in the high-end luxury homes, let's say you're on the beach, you're in an area that's kind of conducive to looking out the window and seeing natural. The natural tones are the easiest and the most timeless. So there's been a shift from pop color to natural tones. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't color used today because it is coming back with wood tones and different darker wood tones. But the overall shift, if you look at the last 2 or 3 years, is all natural materials, all natural colors, that just like what you see out the window, basically, is what the concept is. And the good thing about the natural materials, I like to use natural stone because it's always endless possibilities in paint colors, but they make man-made stones and materials in wood that looks like wood, I should say, to achieve the same look so you can have a stress-free maintenance program. And, you can have kids, dogs, everything, and nothing gets destroyed. So now that you have the whole look, let's say natural materials, everything organic, earth tones, the way to make it spa-like is lighting. So there's all kinds of tricks to lighting, incandescent lighting, of course, which is now LED lighting, but you can do under cabinet lighting, toe kick lighting, under sofas, LED ceiling lighting, sconces. Of course, all the lights in the ceiling, the can lights, can be dimmable and programmed to different moods. Art lighting. There's so many ways to kind of trick out a house for lighting any time of the day, actually, depending on where you're at and how much sun you have. But the lighting is what creates the spa-like feeling after the textiles and the color. So when you're incorporating earth tones and natural tones and earthy tones, it doesn't have to be, let's say, rustic, because some people like the look of concrete and they like the look of rustic wood, but that doesn't mean it's not elegant. There's some fabulous homes that are all concrete and the furniture sets it off and the view and the lighting, but just because it's natural materials doesn't mean it's not super elegant, because it's all the way you design the lines and the cabinets and the furniture and, of course, the windows and what's out the view. So let's say you have all natural tones and earthy tones, but you want to pop a color. So what I like to do is put the pop of color in one piece of furniture, maybe a large armoire, or in the pillows, or possibly in the rug. But I like primary tones, the rich jewel tones. But if you're at the beach, maybe you just do light blues and grays and sand colors and just do one pop like a turquoise. So that's the kind of the way I do it. Depending on where you're at is the pop of color, but I personally prefer jewel tones for the rich, deep colors, that you see in nature, in the plants and the flowers. They're warm tones, jewel tones. So probably the best way to really finalize your look, besides the color and the pop of color, is maybe add plants. If you don't have plants outside the window, add plants as accent. But there's nothing like having a really monochromatic, neutral, earthy tone, kind of tone-on-tone look in your home, and then have accents in the artwork and maybe one large plant. But most of my homes are done at the beach, so everything's tone-on-tone in whites and grays and sand colors. So it's kind of the same theme at the beach for us. Okay, so when you use natural materials, which are my favorite because they have so much more depth, they're made by God, okay? They're like, it's endless in the little crystals and the stone and the wood that comes from a real tree on the floor, But here's the deal. Some people don't want to maintain that. So to overcome that, you switch to a porcelain or a Caesar stone on the countertops and the ceramic or porcelain tile on the showers and the backsplash, and then you do a porcelain wood-like tile on the floor, and then you could drive a truck on it in your house or ride a motorcycle around. I mean, it's bulletproof. So that's how you overcome maintenance and challenges with natural stones, because if you put real marble in your kitchen, you cut up a lemon or spill the wine, it's going to stain, and you have to clean it up immediately every day. Otherwise, it'll get embedded in there. Even with a good sealer, you got to be careful because marble's delicate, but you can get so many products that are look-alike marble in the porcelain and Caesar stone family. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Embracing Earthy Tones and Natural Materials on this episode of Julie Laughton Podcast.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Julie Laughton Living. For more information or to connect with Julie one-on-one, visit julielaughtonliving.com. And don't forget, it all starts with a good plan.